I want to give you like how I got free, how I got freed
Mm-hmm.
up. That's what I want to speak to. Anyways, after this really long time of searching, you know, it was
Right.
probably 6 years of like, is God real? Yes. Okay. What does that mean for my life? Okay. I'm going to live this way. Does that mean I have to fix myself now that God's real? And this is what
Mm.
God says is like, you should be with a woman, or this is what your church community says. Okay. What do I do about that? And like continuing to pull apart all the intricacy and complexity of what it means um, to do the right thing and be a good person, right?
Mm.
Or live a God-centered life.
Right.
And anyways, I went on this. There was this moment where I decided that I could no longer. When I was 24, I finished college. There was this point where I could no longer theoretically figure out my sexuality. Like I had never been with anyone. I had never been physical, never been sexual,
Right.
and I was trying to do it all in my mind with myself.
Okay.
And I got to this point where I decided like I have to know, I have to experience something. That's the only way I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to figure it out. So I went on a journey and I did some traveling for about 8 months. I bought a one-way ticket. I was also filming a documentary at the time. It was like my
Wow.
final project from my college.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all around South America, Australia, New Zealand. And that was, you know, on this traveling, this solo trip by myself was the first time I gave myself permission to be physical with people and be
Okay.
sexual with people and learn about that. And there's so much to say about that whole trip, but when I got back, uh, I what was really clear for me was that I was attracted to men sexually and physically,
Mm-hmm.
and that was real.
Mm.
And I still had a question of, I've never been with a woman. Do I try that avenue? Like, should I
Right.
get matched?
Right.
And so there was this whole world of trying to do it right, like get it
Mm.
right. And this was the thing that was like influencing my and shaping my whole worldview was like trying to do the right thing in order to be a good boy, in order to be loved, in order to be accepted, in order to get into heaven, in order for my
Mm.
parents to approve of me. My whole life was shaped by in order to,
Mm.
like trying to do the right thing, make the right choice, versus actually just listen to myself or honor myself or even look at what's here, get present to myself.
Right.
Um, so I got to this point where I had to kind of share with my family about my sexual journey and what had happened and where I'm at and what I want, and that was like challenging and powerful and confronting. This is what I'm getting to, the final moment. But I was getting some coaching, and it was some really powerful coaching. And I was sharing with this coach, I have this area of life where I feel really stuck. And he said, okay, where are you stuck? And I said, around my sexuality. And he said, okay, where are you stuck about that? And I said, like, well, I just don't feel free around it. And I've just spent years trying to get free. And so we were looking in the conversation together, and he said, Sam, if you walked into your church right now and you stood up in front of everyone and you said, I'm gay, that like everyone in that room listening to you would have a reaction based on what you said, right? Like whatever reaction they had based on what you said. And then if you walked across the street and you walked into a building with a rainbow flag on it and you
Mm-hmm.
stood up and you said, I'm gay,
Right.
everyone in that room would have a reaction based on what you said, wouldn't they?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yeah, they would. And he said, consider that, you know, whether you're in the church or you're in the building with the rainbow flag on it, everyone's going to have their own reaction based on their past, based on their beliefs, based on their standards, based on their values, based on where they grew up, how they grew up, their parents. And neither reaction is more inherently right than the other. It's just a reaction,
Right.
it's just their opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I just saw how much of my life was dominated by being scared of other people's opinions about me, as if their opinion is more true than my opinion or any opinion.
Right.
and because I'd grown up in our community my whole life, it was just like that was the general consensus was like being attracted to men was wrong.
Mm.
And it doesn't, you know, I don't really operate around right wrong anymore because it just doesn't work for me. I
Right.
operate
Yeah.
what works, like workability. Does it
Okay.
work or does it not? And I think that's a big question to ask, right? Does homosexuality work or not, right? That's a whole other conversation. But I just got to a point where I got no longer interested in trying to be a good boy in order to be loved and make people proud and make people
Mm.
approved of me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I gave up trying to do the right thing, I got to be free.
Oh wow.
So, so that's kind of where I'm standing in. Like I'm not interested in being right about anything anymore,
Okay.
or trying to please people or make people approve of me, have
Right.
their
Right.
be agreeable or about something. I'm much more interested in living authentically, being honest about what's really there. Because
For sure.
what's honest is like I'm attracted to men, and I may not know why, or I may not, you know, like it or agree with it or wish it was there, but it's like what's there.
Mm.
I can't pretend that it's not there.
For sure. For sure.
That was a long response.
No, I think it makes sense. I think you needed the context and the build up to get to
Yeah.
understand like where you're at and how you came there. So I guess what I want to follow up is, do you still consider yourself a church member?
I love this question too.
I think everyone wonders. You know, everyone's a little different and like
Yeah.
what their take on it is, because you know there's other people who have come out in our community and I mean, and they made their own choices and live
Right.
their own life. So just
Right. Yeah, and these com this all these conversations are massive conversations, but
for
I
sure, for sure.
you know, I do actually. I really do.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I do.
Nice.
And my sister and I always joke about this because we often hear from our age group of
Mm-hmm.
just like young people, second gen, there's always this like, are you in or are you out? And I having to choose, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so there's a lot of like emotion around it. Like there's like bitterness and resentment and upset and withhold and all that. And it's like it's okay where anyone at where everyone is at. It's perfect. It works. But
Mm,
um, I really love our church. I really honor our church. I
I
really
see.
love and honor the people inside of it, the relationships, the communities, the context that I was born into. I really have such an appreciation and like I wouldn't be who I am without the incredible culture that I grew up with
Right,
and
right.
like my parents and you know these awesome communities that I belong to. Um, I don't know if I necessarily see myself uh, leading the theological movement of our church, like
For sure.
being someone who's like I'm a unificationist and I teach my children divine principle, and these are all the cultural traditions that I follow.
Mm-hmm.
But um, I really think that it's possible to have both. I'm really interested in what it looks like to
Right.
do both.
Very
To,
interesting.
to honor God and honor religion and honor faith and honor
Mm-hmm.
sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm a yes to your question.
I think I think most people would be caught off by your response because I mean, logically, if you've gone through hardship and if you felt oppressed by a certain, you know,
Right.
system or social aspect or societal aspect in your life, it's like, you know, especially church, if church is a big part of it, then most people would come to resent or something like that. So it's very interesting that like it's you understand that it wasn't the church that put you down, but it was just um I guess it wasn't the church that specifically put you down, but just like the circumstances that you were in, and then
Yeah.
because of the church. But yeah,
Right.
you know what I mean. It's kind of wordy,
No, it is.
or it's a word game a little bit, but yeah,
Yeah, and I think Toya, it's like people are often shocked by me when I say that, and I
right.
meet VCs all the time who are just like F the church, and I'm like it's a cult, and it's like totally understand, I got it, and that's your experience.
Hmm.
I honor that, and they're like, how are you doing this? Like how do you live in a church house? or how are you talking about your sexuality publicly and not like getting, I don't know, attacked or, and I don't know, I just think like, I think all of us have some understanding of like our church's want or purpose in the world, which was to like create a world
Right.
where peace could exist, right? Like a world that could work for everyone. And for me, like that's the game I want to play with my life, like creating a world that works for everyone with no one left out or forgotten.
For sure.
And for me, if we say that's what we're committed to, but our actions are, hey, you're not allowed to be here. Gay people aren't allowed, or if you're attracted to men, shame on you, or if you are, those we're actually not practicing what we say we're committed to, right? And so for me, I'm playing the game that everyone wins. Like everyone gets to belong, everyone gets to be honored, everyone gets to be taken care of. And that for me includes my church
Hmm.
and that includes my parents. And I'm like unwilling to leave them behind.
Right. I think that's really amazing. That's super dope.
Yeah. And it's funny because I don't know if it's funny, but it's been a process to learn how to take a stand for people who are not taking a stand for you.